Good evening. The town clerk reports that there are 108 town meeting members present. The annual meeting for the town of Adams is convened. At this time, in these two sections should only be town meeting members. All others should be seated in the seats on the left and the right. The town clerk will now read the return of the constable.
Adams, Massachusetts, May 20th, 2025. I have served the foregoing warrant by posting in 3 public places in the said town of Adams, true and attested copies thereof, 7 days at least before the time of holding said meeting. Thomas A. Satko, Constable of the town of Adams.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. This evening, for tellers, I am appointing David Lennon from Precinct 5 and Ryan Byros from Precinct 1. I'd like to introduce the people who are at the front of the room this evening. On my right, Town Administrator Ken Walto, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen John Duval, Vice Chairman Ann Bartlett, members Christine Hoyt, newly elected Jay Meswar, and Joseph Novak. We also have Ashley Satko, our Finance Director and Town Accountant. At this table, Haley Meswar, Town Clerk, Jeffrey Blake from KP Law, Justin Duval, Chairman of the Finance Committee, and Michael Tortendia from KP Law as well. At this time, I'd like to introduce our newly elected precinct members, if they would stand when their name is called. Precinct 1, Deborah Nowicki, Gregory Nowicki. Precinct 2, Andrew Harmon, Howard Rosenberg, William Schrade. Precinct 3, Russell Duval, Jerome Sokoloff. Precinct 4, Nancy Summer, Deborah Woolley, Catherine Paris, Edmund St. John, and Natasha Martin. Precinct 5, Denise Fortier, Stephanie Melito, and David Reinmeller. If any town meeting member wishes to make an amendment to an article this evening, all those amendments need to be in writing. They should be given to the town clerk so that we have an accurate record of your amendment. If anyone needs paper or pens, it is available up here at the desk in the front. At this time, the town clerk will present the Town of Adams scholarship recipients.
Fiscal year 25 scholarship awards. High school scholarships going to Hoosick Valley High School is Rachel Scarpito, Corey Sharon, and Ashlyn LaSure. McCann Tech is Brady Sagendorf and Toby Hopkins. And we have one postgraduate award that's going to Noah Brayman.
At this time, the town clerk will give the dedication for the annual report.
This year's dedication is dedicated to the Adams Beautification Group. I'm just going to read, it's very short, so just bear with me. With sincere gratitude and deep appreciation, the town of Adams proudly dedicates this acknowledgement to the Adams Beautification Group, a devoted team of volunteers whose tireless efforts bring life and color to our community. Throughout your generous contributions and time and care, you assist the DPW in planting beautiful spring and fall flowers throughout the town, enhancing our shared spaces with vibrant seasonal color. Your ongoing work to maintain and beautify the roundabout ensures that it remains a welcoming and eye-catching centerpiece all year long. Even without being asked, you step forward with creativity, commitment, and pride. Your dedication sets an inspiring example of community spirit and action. The active members are Barbara Bates, Betty Bidwell, Jan Borland, Marie Dubus, Ron King, Debbie Langner, Al Mendel, Sue Mendel, Debbie Nowicki, Greg Nowicki, Mary Parker, Mark Phillips, and Juliet Wilk-Chaffee. Thank you so much for all your dedication. If anybody is here, I know there's a few town meeting members here, and I think there's a couple that are sitting over there. If you'd like to come up and get a copy of the town report, we're more than happy to give it to you. They're not moving.
They're not moving. Haley, you're going to them.
It's just one. Can I grab? We'll give them out at the end of the meeting. I'm just giving them out to the, sorry, I'm just going to hand them out to the beautification group right now, but at the end of the meeting, you're more than welcome to grab one on your way out.
Thank you. That was very nice.
Is that good? Okay.
Okay, we are going to begin the call of the warrant. As we historically do, I will read each article by number and what the article is. Any town meeting member wishing to hold an article will stand, state their name and their precinct. At the end of the call of the warrant, we will vote in mass those articles not held. After that vote, we will take up the articles held in order. The annual articles. Article 1, elect other officers not previously chosen. Article 2, report of the Board of Selectmen.
Hold, John Duval, Precinct 2.
Hold by the Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, John Duval. Article 3, committee reports. Article 4, set compensation of elected officials.
Hold, Justin Duval, Precinct 1.
Hold by Justin Duval, Chairman of the Finance Committee. We'll get there. The budget articles. Article 5, the operating omnibus budget article held by Justin Duval, Chairman of the Finance Committee. I see you, Mr. Cowie. Article 6, the sewer enterprise fund article held by the Chairman of the Finance Committee, Justin Duval. Again, I see you, Mr. Cowie. Article 7, the capital omnibus article. Article 8, capital infrastructure and equipment outlay from free cash. Mr. Cowie, that the one? Article 8. You're fine with Article 8? Okay. The regional school assessment articles. Article 9, the Hoosick Valley Regional School District assessment. Thank you. Article 10, the Northern Berkshire Regional Vocational School District assessment. Thank you. The transfer to special fund articles, Article 11, free cash to lower the tax rate. Article 12, the stabilization fund transfer. Article 13, the reserve fund appropriation.
I would like to hold that, please.
The reserve fund one? Thank you, Mr. Novak. Article 14, unpaid bills.
I'd like to hold that also.
Thank you. The annual authorization articles. Article 15, the authorization to apply for community development block grants. Article 16, authorization to apply for community facilities grants. Article 17, authorization to accept perpetual care monies. Article 18, authorization to borrow. Article 19, authorize revolving fund spending limits.
I'd like to hold that that also, please?
Thank you. Article 20, amend compensation plan. Special articles, Article 21, Economic Development Fund. Thank you, Mr. Cowey. Article 22, a citizen's petition.
Peter Wagner, Precinct 3.
Thank you. And Article 23. Okay, let me just verify with the town clerk we have the right. Chairman of the Finance Committee moves the following articles: Article 1, 3, 7, 8, 11, 12, 15, 16, 17, 18, 20, and 23, seconded by Mr. Byros. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, thank you. Going back to Article 2. Article 2 reads, to hear reports of the Board of Selectmen and other town officers and act thereon. Mr. Duval, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
Thank you, Madam Moderator. I'm going to report back on a few items that we discussed back at our December 10th, 2024 special town meeting. The first one is under special articles, Article 5, Memorial School redevelopment, authorization of Board of Selectmen to finalize sale and disposition of property and enter into long-term leaseback agreement. So I'm just going to read briefly what the explanation was at the time. This warrant article simply authorizes the Board of Selectmen to finalize the sale of the building to Mr. Mackin after the development agreement, purchase and sale, and other agreements are finalized, instead of having to go back to town meeting for any final approvals. Additionally, it allows the Board of Selectmen to enter into a long-term lease necessary to provide the Council on Aging with improved facilities and continued use of the gymnasium, the auditorium for public and community purposes. One of the changes I wanted to report to you is that the auditorium was provided to Mr. Mackin for his construction of his apartments. This is all public information. I just want to make sure I bring town meeting up to date on this. The auditorium is no longer going to be a space that the town will utilize. The auditorium needs a tremendous amount of work. We have this facility, this gym here, which is going to be for our use, which we can continue to have town meetings. We continue to have voting here, and we also have the Plunkett School. We have Bow Field. We have other avenues, and to hold on to the auditorium, which doesn't have heat, we didn't put heat in that. To invest in that for a meeting or two a year, we just felt this would help. And Mr. Mackin also requested that this would help him with the banks to be able to get the funding he needs to complete his project. So since we met last time, we did approve, the Board of Selectmen did approve, there's 3 agreements. The first one was the sales agreement, the development agreement, and the lease agreement. All these have been signed by the Board of Selectmen in a public meeting. All that is left to do is to really have a closing. Mr. Mackin has provided the $10,000 check as required, and we will receive $40,000 additional when the closing is complete, which is the sale price of $50,000. I just wanted to give you a new number that the new number is going to be 35 apartments in this building, which will include the auditorium. So the board has, which we were hoping to finish this week or next and have it sold, and we will accomplish what we've set out to do as part of this special article. The other part, as you remember, is that the lease agreement, there was a lot of discussion about the price. of what we're going to be paying. So what the board has agreed to is it's a 20-year lease with an option to renew for the town with Mr. Mackin. The first year, when everything, the construction that he's going to be doing, when we're able to begin to use this gym, the administrative offices, we still have that. Both of the locker rooms here are still part of the project, so nothing's changed except for the auditorium. The first year, when we're ready to go and to have this gym in the evenings, have this gym and weekends for the basketball and soccer and whatever the kids used to do here, right? They're going to be able to start to do that again as soon as Mr. Mackin completes his construction, which does include replacing every window in this building, including the Council on Aging section. He's also going to do some maintenance work for the Council on Aging office row, which is down there. And he's also putting in 2 bathrooms, which has been holding us up here. I know everybody wants to use this gym, all the kids want to use this gym, but we don't have ADA-compliant bathrooms that can be used by the public and by the Council on Aging. So he's going to be, that's the first thing he's going to do is to complete those bathrooms so we can get in here as soon as we can to start using this as a community center, which has always been the vision of this project. So that's an update. I think I've covered everything. Oh, the first year is going to be $0. We don't pay the first year, $0. The second year is $17,500. And then the third year through year 20 is $35,000 a year. That is our lease payment to Mr. Mackin. And if you get into all the square footage and what we're taking over here for a lease, and if you go by square foot and all that, it's not a bad deal for us. And we do have a community center finally here in the town of Adams for our Council on Aging to use for during the day and maybe others, with much more room to do their programming and to expand, and also for the community to be able to use this area also. So I think we've accomplished what we set out to do, and this will be, the board still has to do a final sign-off and everything, and that should be coming very soon. So, are there any questions on that? We don't want to get into much discussion. I just want to give you a status, and if I confused anybody, yes, Don. It's okay.
Mr. Summer, could you come to the microphone? I know.
Just curious, who's going to be responsible for the maintenance of this, like the ceiling and things like that?
Any construction done in this building, including the community center, will be the responsibility of Mike Mackin. We'll have to take care of the cleaning of an office or whatever the daily cleaning type responsibilities are, and that's our responsibility, of course. But anything that's going to be done in this gym will be that of Michael Mackin, and we'll continue, as a leasee, we're paying. We'll be in constant contact with him if we notice anything that needs to be fixed.
Any other questions on this topic? Mr. Novak? Yep, could you use your microphone? Thank you.
Yeah, this is to Chairman Duval. You stated that he had paid $10,000. Well, I thought at our meeting that he signed a check for $40,000. I mean, that's what was said during the meeting. Is that correct?
So he's paid in full? $40,000. Okay. Well, it's 50 as a sale price. He gave 10 plus he gave 40. Okay. All right. Thank you, Joe. So yes, he has paid his initial. He has paid to purchase this building. He wrote the check of $40,000 at our meeting, which we signed off all the plans. So Mr. Mackin has paid to purchase this building. We haven't done the final sign off yet, but Mr. Mackin has paid what the cost is for this building.
Mrs. Parsons?
Diane Parsons, Precinct 1. Just a question, Mr. Duval, about a timeline for when the construction will take place, and is there any estimate of when the town aspect will take place?
Good question. He's been ready to go for like 2 years. As soon as the closure is completed, he's going to begin his construction. The bathrooms will be top of his list. The timeline, we do have, and the board can correct me, that if he doesn't do anything within 2 years, I believe, then the board we have the right to take this building back. We have that clause. We just don't want this to become a rundown building, just give it away. So I think it's 2 years, but we can verify that because the 3 agreements are all public information. So you can get copies of that through the town clerk, through a request. So, but I don't know how far it's going to go, but he's going to start right away.
I did look up Mackin online. He has an A1 rating.
Yeah, we're very fortunate to have him. Thank you.
If there's nothing further on this topic, Mr. Duval, anything else?
Just one, thank you, Madam Moderator. There was one other item that I indicated at the December special town meeting. Just want to look it up here. It was the Article 8. No, that wasn't it. Keep going, John. Okay. Article 9. To vote a home rule petition for special legislation to establish a Greylock Glen Commission by vote of the Board of Selectmen. Now, this article went down to defeat, so I indicated that we're going to look for a way to move forward. The board did meet last week, and our Community Development Director, Donna Season, provided us with an advisory committee type setup, which I have a little information here, but the board hasn't completed the discussion of this, so I really can't talk about anything about it. But what we're going to lean towards is having a Greylock Glen advisory committee that is going to meet separately, and which will include the executive director and others. This committee will be made up of more local people, which is what I think everyone favors, that we have the knowledge, the history, and the experience of people right in our community or communities close by that can really provide great insight into this committee. The board will still appoint, but again, that hasn't been finalized. So I really can't talk about it, but our last meeting, the minutes will be available soon, and the agenda will be posted, and then we're going to move forward to create that advisory committee to meet monthly to report back to the Board of Selectmen on recommendations.
John, my papers. Tends to take my papers. Mr. Summer, and then Mr. Cowie follow.
I appreciate the board considering an advisory committee, but the 200 people that signed a petition and the people here at town meeting that voted for the establishment of a commission almost comes to over 300 people. The commission would take the financial responsibility away from the town and maybe can make this thing move forward faster. I'm disappointed that the selectmen have decided to have an advisory committee that they can listen to or not, rather than go forward with what almost 300 people in the town asked you to do, and that is establish a commission.
So for clarification, Don,
Okay, go ahead.
for clarification, the article was voted down. I know a lot of people signed it, but it was voted down by this body in December. To have a commission that the legislation approves. It was voted down. So that's where we're going. It could, right?
That doesn't mean the selectmen could move forward on it.
If you're going to talk,
Right.
Mr. Summer, you've got to do it from here. Everybody should hear you. Mr. Cowie?
John Cowie, Precinct 3. Good evening, Mr. Duval. John, I guess my biggest concern here is, can the town of Adams, under the town charter or its bylaws, in essence, end up operating a business? Because I think I understand where you're going. You would like to have the revenue, any excess revenue up there coming back here, going into the town coffers. I'm not sure, I'm not convinced that we can do that. Under what type of a business model are you going to be operating? It's going to be an enterprise? Do you see where I'm coming from?
I see where you're coming from, and I without going back to look at it, but we're not going to operate, the town is not going to operate, other than the outdoor center. We're going to be looking for developers through RFPs to do the campground and the lodge and all that. But we're just going to take input from the advisory committee to make decisions. So we're not going to run any businesses other than the outdoor center at this point.
All right, but see, I'm still not concerned that we can, how we're going to get the money from there to here is my concern. I'm not sure that we can do it, but
That's it. Really, what is the goal of this? Is what we got to ask ourselves. What is the goal? Is to get money from up there to come down to the town coffers. So I don't want to go any further, but.
Okay, so,
Oh, yeah.
So we have the revolving fund that we established in the special town meeting.
Right, so we have the revolving fund, Mr. Cowie, which we approved, not sure what year. Yeah, special town meeting. Yeah.
okay, follow it.
I don't want to belabor this, John, but when we have revolving funds, though, we have we are in charge of that money, okay? I don't see how we're going to do this up there. I don't see how, I mean, it's like the highway, the water department, they're a completely separate entity, and they're self-sustained. They charge their rates. We don't give them any money at all. And that's, my concern is we're creating something we really don't have the right to create the way
Okay,
you.
we can work with legal counsel, but I sure do pay the water department.
Okay.
Excuse me. So, Mr. Corrigan, 1 minute. Mr. Laura, I saw your hand up first. Then Christine, I'm sorry, do you want to speak? You're okay?
I just wanted,
Okay, and then after Mr. Laura, Mr. Corrigan.
Fred Laura, Precinct 1. I just wanted to say that it's very encouraging that we're going to take a step of establishing an advisory committee. That's going to be a group of citizens, local citizens, that can advise the select board, and their job, if you will, is going to be dedicated on one task, the Greylock Glen. We talk about the Mass MoCA and the commission, and we try to make those parallels. Talking to some residents of North Adams fairly recently, my understanding is an advisory committee was established before they established a commission, which means that potentially, we could come back a year from now with an experienced advisory committee, potentially recommending a commission or not. But again, we will have a group of people, and again, you can appoint them with a wide range of expertise to advise both our select board as the town. So I'm just very encouraged by the fact that we can create this advisory committee. And again, that could potentially be a stepping stone to a commission if we decide to go that route. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Laura. Mr. Corrigan.
Craig Corrigan, Precinct 3. A year ago, you asked that we give you time, and we have. And the first 9 months of the operation for the Greylock Glen It's brought in a total of $10,000 according to the paper. But in your budget here, we're spending this year $347,000. All right, I would like to know, for the next 6 months, how many revenue-paying events we have scheduled at the Greylock Glen, and I'd like to know what is our projected income from those events.
Mr. Nguyen? Could someone get a microphone to Mr. Nguyen? Thank you.
I'm sorry, Mr. Corrigan, I didn't break it out just for the next 6 months, but since we opened in October through December of this year, we have a total of 80 events on the calendar. Our anticipated revenue from those is $10,162, and we have an additional $6,700 received.
So what's our total?
Thank you. Wait a minute.
What is the total revenue to the town?
Could we,
Can we take a recess?
excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a 5-minute recess. Thank you. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we will return to the town meeting. If you'll take your seats. Oh, that belongs to Christine. Okay. Before we get back to the town meeting, I'd like to extend a thank you to the first responders that responded to the incident and to those town meeting members who assisted. Really appreciate it. All right, Mr. John Duval makes a motion to table the report of the Board of Selectmen, and it is seconded by Ms. Cuccinetti. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. We're moving on to Article 4. And Article 4 reads, thank you, Ryan, to see if the town will vote to fix the salary and compensation of all elected officers of the town in accordance with the provisions of Section 108, Chapter 41 of the General Laws as amended, and to see if any of said salaries and compensation shall be increased or take any other action in relation thereto. The article was held by the Finance Committee Chair Justin Duval. No. You're on.
Good evening.
There you are.
As Finance Committee Chair, I would like to move Article 4 with the following amendment. The Finance Committee amends Article 4 as follows. To recommend that the town vote to fix the salary and compensation of its elective officers as Board of Assessors full-time, $81,932, Treasurer Collector, $81,932, and Town Clerk, $81,932. This represents a 5% increase from FY 2025 in the full-time assessor, treasurer collector, and town clerk salaries. The 5% is constituted of 2% cost of living adjustment, which represents $1,561, and 3% additional, which represents $2,340.
A second on the amendment by Ms. Cuccinetti. At this time, the tellers are going to hand all the town meeting members a copy of the amended article, so you have these figures and information in your hand before we start discussion. each one?
For all three of them. They're all for the amount, they're like, all total pay is 81.
It's 81,933. We're going to go with 32. I don't want to play around. Okay, does everyone have a copy of the amendment? Town meeting members. Oh, I'm sorry, let's take care of the Board of Selectmen.
And I will select your name, tell me your name. Thanks. Yeah, I think so. That's better.
Okay, if everyone has a copy. Mr. Duval, would you like to begin the discussion on this one?
Yeah, so I'll start off with the formal statement from the Finance Committee regarding this article. So the Finance Committee, by majority vote, supports a 5% salary increase for the 3 elected officials, the town clerk, treasurer, collector, and assessor. These positions are only eligible for salary adjustments through town meeting approval. The officials presented a compelling case to the committee, outlining the significant changes in the scope and responsibilities of their roles, along with justification for the proposed increase.
Questions? Discussion?
Madam Chair, I'd like to respond.
Mr. John Duval, and then Mrs. Taylor, I will go right to you.
Thank you. So I'd just like to discuss the board's vote, and what you have this evening is the Board of Selectmen's budget. The town administrator, the finance director, they bring forth a budget to the Board of Selectmen. We hold several workshops, and then we approve a budget, and then we send it over to the Finance Committee for review. And then the budget that is presented to them, they do recommendations, but the budget does come to town meeting, which is the Selectmen's budget, is what you're looking at. And they're looking to change a part of that. So in regards to the raises, the board during a workshop, this was really the evening that we approved the budget. It was April 17, 2025, and this is from the minutes of that meeting. We have 11 department heads. One is the police chief who has a contract, so that the police chief is not part of this discussion. There's 2 additional department heads that I believe are going to get raises based on their scale, which is fine, so they're fine. That would leave 9 department heads, 3 of them which include the elected officials. So the 6 non-elected officials, department heads, in this budget, originally were going to get a 2% cost of living increase only, because they have hit the wall, they can't go any further. So that's what they were going to receive. The same with the elected officials were given the same 2% increase, because we don't have any salary scales or anything like that for the elected officials. We do for the other department heads. And we consider the elected officials as department heads. They work with us, they work as a team with the town administrator, making decisions and running the town on a daily basis. So what I did was, when they were looking for 5, was an input for 5% request. And for the 3 elected officials, what I did was, in the spirit of compromising, for the 6 department heads that were just getting the 2%, I made the motion myself at the board meeting to give an additional 1.5% increase to the 6 department heads that were only getting 2%, because that's as far as they're going to go, they hit the wall, and then give a 1.5% increase to the elected officials So it would all would equal out to 3.5% for all the department heads that are stuck at 2% increase for cost of living. The thought going into it was, again, for compromise, that all of the department heads get the same increase. So that takes away the issues of why did they get this much, why did we get that much kind of thing. So I made that motion. The vote was 2-1. There were 3 of us there of the 4-person select board at the time. We only had 4 members. Joe had the lead, which he indicated because of religious responsibility, so that was fine. He left before the vote was taken. So it was a 2-1 vote. Myself, Christine, in favor of giving everyone a 3.5%. The department head individuals, including the elected officials, and Member Bartlett voted against. So I just want to give you what happened, and that's what happened. That's the reason why we did this. And now the amendment's been added to make a change to that.
This one's yours. Thank you. Mrs. Taylor? And then Ms. Christianetti? And then, Mr. Schutz.
Hi, I don't agree with any of those things. My amendment was to put them back to the 2% that the rest of the town is getting.
Okay.
Which would make their salary $79,391.
Okay, so we have one amendment we have to vote first, then it can
That
be another
was my
amendment.
thing. I think they should go back to the 2%, that the whole town is getting a 2% raise, according to your compensation plan.
Okay,
I would agree that they get that same 2%.
okay.
That's what I
You
want.
have it in right?
I
so-
do.
Okay, so we'll get to that one after we deal with this. Ms. Christianetti?
Carol Cushionetti, Precinct 5. So I just want to clarify something, that in our personnel policy, it states that any such adjustment or merit increase shall not cause the employee to be paid more than the maximum rate of compensation for the range established for the classification and must be justified by a written statement. And I also want to say, this is not about anybody's performance, it's not about people, it's not about their dedication to the community, it's about following policy. Oftentimes, and not that we've done this in the past, but oftentimes we just have to adhere to policy to make sure that we are not being fiscally irresponsible. So I would like us to just approve the 5% for the 3 people that I think deserve it, and the 1.5% that was given to other folks, we need to think about that in the next article.
Okay. Further discussion on the article amended? Mr. Schutz, yes, thank you for reminding me.
Norm Schutz, Precinct 2. To me, the figures don't add up. 5% of 80, 70, 62 is 3901. No? Say again?
It would be 5% on last year's number of
So
78,000.
it's not 5% on these figures that are here?
No,
Right.
it was on last year's number.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyone else? Mrs. Taylor?
Patricia Taylor, Precinct 4. Am I correct in my evaluation that everybody in town that's on that big salary schedule gets a 2% raise by contract and then gets a step in addition to that?
To the accountant? Yep.
Is this on? Hi.
Hi.
So the only contracted department head is the chief of police, so that is all agreed upon in his contract with the Board of Selectmen. All department heads are non-union, so they go based off of the normal the wage scale. But the 3 elected officials are not on that scale. They're elected officials, they're however the book is written. For anybody else, they are based off of the scale, but the only thing is if they are maxed out, so if they've hit to their limit, which is step 12, they don't get anything else but cost of living. So we have at least 5 that are maxed out, so they won't receive anything else for the future unless they present something to the board to have their grade changed. In this situation, like Chairman Duval said, was that they're just trying to find a middle ground to help the people that have maxed out. There are positions, at least 3, including myself, the executive director, the Glenn, and the community development director that still have step scales. Obviously, the community development director is a vacant position. We have steps available to us, so we're not a part of this because when our anniversary comes, then we get it. We don't get our anniversary for the full year. It happens when our anniversary comes around.
So are they being penalized in some manner by the fact that they are elected and not part of the regular appointed positions?
They being the 3 elected officials we're
That's right,
talking
the 3
about?
that you want to get the raise.
I'm going to yield to somebody.
I'm thinking that's true, and therefore I agree with the Finance Committee that they should get their raise.
Okay, Ms. Cuccinetti?
I don't think anyone is intentionally being penalized for this. I just think that the only vehicle the 3 electeds that we talked about have is to come to town.
Okay, yeah.
I'm sorry. I don't think anybody's being penalized for this. I think,
You got to talk yeah. Talk at the microphone, yeah.
okay, is that better? Okay, I don't think they're being penalized. I just think that the 3 elected officials have not had anything but a 2% cost of living increase for many, many years. This is the first time, you guys help me, that I've seen them ask for more than the 2% cost of living. So it's not being penalized, it's just the way the process works.
Okay, and we are talking about the position of the town clerk, the position of the full-time elected assessor, and the position of the treasurer tax collector. Those are the 3 elected positions. Mrs. Baker. Come on up.
We're talking about salaries here. I have a question. I can't hear everything that's going on. The microphone's on great. Why not the town accountant and the town administrator's salary is never posted in the town report? We went through this with teachers years ago, and everybody's salary, the teachers in particular, but no other people. Now somebody, I don't know if I'm wrong, this is what I was told. If you're not elected, you don't have to show a salary. Well, that's our tax dollar. Doesn't make any sense.
I understand where you're going, Mrs. Baker, but we're going to talk about this article and the elected officials.
Their salary should be in our report. I don't care, they're working for the town.
And that's Article 5. The town administrator's positions and all of those are in Article 5. Right now, we're on the elected officials' salaries in Article 4. If you want to come back for Article 5, we'll
No,
talk about it then.
that's my issue.
Okay,
So when it comes up, somebody answer, please.
okay.
Thank you, Myra.
You're welcome. Anyone else on this? Okay. Before the town meeting right now is the amendment to recommend that the town vote to fix the salary and compensation of its elected officers as follows, with the full-time assessor being $81,932, the treasurer collector $81,932, and the town clerk $81,932. The other numbers remain the same. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Aye. Okay, so yes, Mr. Cowie. Come to the microphone, please.
I'm not 100% sure, but wasn't the Second Amendment really a motion to amend the amendment?
So I
we
went-
should have to vote on that one first?
No.
No?
The amendment on the motion with the amendment is the one that we were discussing and voting. If that had failed, I would have taken and gone to, leading to KP over here, then we would have gone to the Second Amendment. But right now, we're voting on the First Amendment. I can't, if you're talking out there, come talk to the microphone. Can you read it? Read the amendment. I did. That's what you have in your hand. Okay. So that carries. Article 4 carries. Yes, we had a vote? Oh, now, Article 4. A motion by Mr. Duval to vote the article as amended, seconded by Mr. Byros. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The ayes have it.
So I can be clear, you gave them a 5% raise?
I'm sorry, Mrs. Taylor, we're done with Article 4.
Am I clear that they gave a 5% raise then?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you. Article 5, held by Mr. Duval. Article 5, to see if the town will vote to raise and or appropriate from available funds the sum or sums of money as may be necessary to defray the ordinary expenses of the town for the fiscal period beginning July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, or take any other action in relation thereto. Mr. Duval, Justin Duval, Chairman of the Finance Committee, held the article.
Test. All right. So I believe there's going to be another hand now after I go through this. So I'd like to move Article 5 with the following amendment. To recommend that the town vote to raise and appropriate from available funds as noted, the amount shown under the heading FY26 recommended as follows. So under Personnel Services, FY26, Assessor, $166,603, an increase of $1,219. Treasurer Collector, $150,318, an increase of $1,190. Town Clerk, $160,930, an increase of $1,190. Inspection Services, $260,356. This is a reduction of the Building Commissioner proposed salary by $1,509. Council on Aging, $231,190. This is a reduction of the COA Director proposed salary by $1,135. Library, $273,858, a reduction in the Library Director proposed salary by $1,135. And then Department of Public Works, $1,326,970, a reduction of Operations Supervisor proposed salary by $1,276. Under Operating Expenses FY26, Board of Health, $13,800. This is a reduction of the proposed Board of Health order enforcement costs by $1,500. And all other dollar amounts in personal services and operating expenses will remain the same as presented. The new totals for personal services will be $7,590,703. And operating expenses will be $2,613,237. The total difference is $2,956.
Is there a second? Second by Mr. Lennon. At this time, the tellers will give a handout. It is a 3-page handout for you, so you can see the differences that Mr. Duval mentioned. Then we will go to discussion. Yes. guys figured this out? Because I'm going to call for discussion. Be prepared. Okay, so we have an amendment. We have a second. We have work being done over here. But questions, we're going to start with the questions. So, Mr. Duval. And then, okay, so just so that I acknowledge that, Mr. Duval, Mrs. Baker, somebody was over here, Mr. Rhodes, and then Skippy. Mrs. Baker, 1 minute. I have to let Mr. Duval first. You're second. Then
That's-
Mr. Summer, and then I see Mr. Bishop. I knew I'd get it.
All right, so I'd like to start off with a formal statement from the Finance Committee, as well as reiterate what Carol said on the floor already here. So in respect to Article 5, when the Select Board offered the 3 elected positions 1.5%, they also increased any department head that was at the maximum level of their range, the same 1.5%, which we already discussed. In this current budget, 5 positions received an additional 1.5% salary increase that did not follow personnel policy. Our amendment is not a reflection on the individuals in those roles. Their performance and dedication are not in question. Rather, this is a matter of ensuring we follow the established salary administration procedures. So what this amendment does, it corrects the salary increases for 4 of the 5 positions, bringing them back within policy limits. This is the COA director, the library director, the building commissioner, and the DPW operations supervisor. This amendment also implements the approved increases for 3 elected official positions, as was successfully accepted in Amendment 4. And in respect to the operating expense reduction, the Board of Health order enforcement costs. During our budget review, we conduct a thorough examination of each line item with a particular focus on identifying variances and historical spending trends. For any line item showing a significant variance, including those with no expenditures in the past 3 to 5 years, we requested justification from the relevant department heads or committee chairpersons and finance director. In the case of this line item, Dr. Rhodes, Chair of the Board of Health, recommended to the Select Board that we no longer need to allocate funds to it. The Finance Committee questioned the expenditure and also concluded that it was no longer necessary. Notably, the funds have been encumbered annually. There have been no actual expenditures, resulting in an accumulated balance of $11,706 currently available in the account.
Okay, Mrs. Baker? You can talk. It's your turn.
I guess, David, can you fix this?
So sorry.
Thank you, David. Just to make it simple, if it is simple, are we saying here the salaries of assessor, treasurer, town clerk is now at $80-something thousand?
Article 4 did pass with those amounts.
Are we
81,000.
projecting, are these the true figures, that they would be boosted to 156? What are those figures? Is that for one person, 2 people?
No. That's the total salaries, and somebody correct me if I'm wrong, that would be the total salaries in that department.
In the department.
Department.
It should be clarified, it's in the department.
Okay.
Okay? Mm-hmm. And again, going back to what happened, we want to see the town administrator and want to see the town accountant, what are they getting paid? It was pretty high, from what I understand, I don't know. Is there any truth to the fact, oh, if they're elected, we don't have to tell you what we're paying them? Okay? Something that you guys can talk about one day, I don't know. And thank you.
Thank you. Oh, hold on. Ashley?
So just a clarification that the amounts for the treasurer, the assessor, and town clerk are at least 2 employees and their benefits, workman's comp, health, everything is combined in that one amount. It's not just their salary, just to make that clear. And also the town administrator and the town accountant's amount is within the budget.
It's in the budget.
Yep.
Is it noted?
Yep, right under the town administrator, the personal services, under the 209,954, that is the town administrator, the admin assistant, and all their benefits. Thank you. You're welcome. And then the finance director is under the accountant in the same personnel line item. It's the same thing. The finance director, town accountant, the assistant town accountant, and all benefits under that line item.
Okay, Mr. Rhodes?
Whoop. I can duck. Oh, thank you. And Justin, a small correction. Thank you for acknowledging about the code enforcement. In general, the reason my questions are coming forth is because Department of Public Health is asking health departments to make an assessment of delivery of services. And as such, they ask me a lot of budget questions, and I thank Ashley for helping me out as I bug her time and time again. And so that did raise a couple of questions. Now, the question about the code enforcement, I did not ask for that line item to be removed. In fact, my understanding is I have no control over the Board of Health budget. That's a inspectional services. And so my question was basically, $1,500 for code enforcement, aren't we enforcing any codes? And so, and I actually looked back through several budgets, and for the last like 4 or 5 years, $1,500 has not been spent. It has been encumbered and growing and growing and growing. So my question is, what? Why don't we use the money? So, and then the other two questions, one is kind of simple. One of the questions from DPH was, what percentage average benefits do your employees get? And I noticed that personal services lump sum, as you said, benefits are lumped in there. And then further, and so you can see that in the proposed budget, but then when we go back in the report we're going to get tonight to say how much we did spend in FY24, this current, no, actually,
We're in FY
2020, 20, for FY
2025.
that it just lumps the entire department. It doesn't split out how much we spent on personal services versus operating expenses. And so it seemed like there's an inconsistency in expression. So I will leave it at that.
Thank you. Mr. Summer, before I get to you, Mr. Garner, do you want to explain to Mr. Rhodes' question about why the money is encumbered? Yep.
The $11,000 is encumbered for Clean and Lean money, which we, can you hear me now? Verizon. It's been encumbered for Clean and Lean money, and because we've been fiscally responsible, I guess we're going to have to pay for it. We've been taking people to court. We've been getting them to clean their properties themselves. As anybody knows, if you're going to clean a property that's a hoarding situation, it could cost up to $10,000 or more. There's one building in the town right now that's going to cost us $25,000. Nobody's coming forward to clean it, so we don't have to worry about it anymore. We have no Clean and Lean money, so it's going to sit there. As far as smaller projects that we have another one that's across town that I want to demo. And by cutting these monies out of here, I can't demo it now. So, which is, I can't say the address. So the buildup of this money is so that we can do these Clean and Leans because they're so expensive. $1,500 does nothing. Doesn't even get you a contract. So this is going to be affecting the department quite a bit. But like I say, being fiscally responsible is a problem. So I was taught that in municipal government, this is a problem to hold on to money. So we gave it a shot. tried to build it up so that if we needed it, we could use it, but that's just how it goes.
Well, and then that raises two more questions. I mean, I don't want to cut off this spigot if it does have a purpose going forward. It would just be nice as Board of Health to understand that we had no idea about this. And so if that is indeed the case, if we could make some specification that such is the case, and we keep track of that, kind of get what are your eyes on in terms of use of that money, I think that would be very important information for the board and for the town as a whole.
So in the past, we've gone to the Board of Health for meetings. Our code enforcement officer goes there and tells the board what cleanups we're doing, such as one across town. That was a hoarding situation that took 2 months to clean up. Had we had to absorb those costs, it would have been about 15 grand. So we do tell you what's going on, but we don't talk about $1,500 every year. We just talk about the cleanups that we're doing, the hoarding situations, any kind of trash removal that has to be on the property. There's one that's very evident going down Howland Avenue that we're working on right now, trying to get these people to clean it up, and I have a feeling we're going to have to clean it up ourselves. But without this money, we can't.
So,
Okay, okay, so this conversation
Okay.
is wonderful, but I think, Mr. Garner, you need to attend the Board of Health meeting and talk directly with them about the explanation, and we're going to go back to discussing the amendment.
Sure.
Thank you. Mr. Rhodes, anything else with respect to the amendment? If not, I have 3 other people with questions.
So you did understand that I'm not asking for, and that I understand, I just need to know the story going
Perfect.
forward. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Summer?
This doesn't directly concern the amendment, but it's something to do with this article.
Okay.
Okay, well, I guess I'm concerned that your budget for the Public Works Director is only $53,782. That's not enough to hire a qualified public works director. And I guess I'd like to ask the selectmen, the town charter clearly says that the select board will appoint a qualified director of public works. We have not had one for 2 years. I'd like to know when they're going to have one and why they've only put $53,000 into that account.
First question with respect to the budget. Ashley, with the 53,000?
The Public Works admin line item, that is only for the DPW admin assistant and all of the costs to have her. That is it. So that's why it's only $53,782. It is only the DPW admin assistant.
Okay. Mr. Summer?
So that's not for a director?
No, that is
Well, where is the money? The town charter calls for a director. Where is the money for that position? And how do the selectmen decide they're not going to do it? The town charter was approved by the people of Adams.
Chairman of the Board of Selectmen, Mr. Duval.
For the last couple of years, the board has made a decision to reduce costs in regards to that position. We have identified the DPW director as the town administrator. Jay Green was the DPW director, and currently our current town administrator is the DPW director. We checked with town council, and we are allowed to do that. However, the individual we have at DPW, the person leading it now, is going to retire. And so after this fiscal year, we're going to get back to having a DPW director. This is just, we had a really great person, knows what he's doing, operating well as of now, going to be leaving at some point. We're going back to the DPW structure, DPW director structure.
Thank you. Okay, Ms. Hines? Mr. Lennon, you may have to assist.
There, is that okay?
It's fine.
I don't even need a microphone, I'm so loud, thanks to the military. But I think you're probably going to know where I'm going to go with my question. Being on the Board of Health and being a nurse practitioner, finishing my thesis, and an ER nurse, we have a lot of hoarding in this town, and we have a lot of problem with animals in this town. My question is, we have one of the best animal control officers around, and I know that because I live down south, and I worked with a lot of animal control officers, and I know the ones in Pittsfield, and I knew the one that was in North Adams. And the one we have in Adams can do circles around anybody, okay? She's good, she's proactive, she stays in touch with MSPCA, Bill LaSalle, and law enforcement. She's amazing. Can you tell me why there's so little money approved for her operating expenses when dog jail needs to be improved? And she goes above and beyond transporting animals, like in a hoarding case. I mean, she's on the phone with her cell phone, with everything, and getting cats, over 50 cats, and transporting them everywhere, doing all kinds of stuff. And I don't think $42.25 is a whole lot of money to operate a good animal control program. And she does a fantastic job.
Okay,
And she's easy to work with. And that's my question.
Thank you. Mr. Walto, do you have information on that when you had your conversation? If not, I'll go to someone else. Chief Kelly. Thank you,
Some of the stuff, right, Chief, that she has to put up with is amazing.
So tell me exactly what your question is, Skippy.
My question is, her operating budget, at least if I'm seeing correctly here, it was approved for $42.25, and it was recommended $42.25. But that's not a lot of money to operate an animal control, but I know that's not her salary, okay? But that's still not a whole lot of money for an animal control budget.
With that money, we are improving the animal facility. We're getting air and heat in there. Food is taken care of. She has got a truck that she can use. So I appreciate where you're going with this.
Yeah, I'm just advocating for, I'm not.
And I understand.
I'm advocating for the animals, because it's not just the dog she looks after.
Let the chief finish. Thank you.
Yeah, I apologize for interrupting.
So in my 4 years here, we have done very well with that budget, along with all the other budget lines that I have dealt with. Again, the things that I mentioned that are going to take place, that money covers that. And it covers her, it covers and that's the reason why we're putting heat and AC, or better heat and AC in there. We're shoring the walls up. That's for the animals.
Right, and I agree, and I think y'all are doing a great job. But there are times with this budget, that's not enough if she's got an injured animal that has to receive some vet care.
Well, it is enough.
That really goes over the top.
We have proved year after year that it is enough. I get you're promoting that, and I understand.
And I'm not promoting the control officer, I'm advocating
has been.
for the budget for the animals.
We have made it work every single year.
Okay. Thank you, Chief Kelly.
All right.
Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you, Ms. Hines. Mr. Bishop. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, there is a motion on the floor. Let me find the right paper. To amend Article 5 as follows. Personal services under the heading FY 2026 recommended. The assessor, $166,603, which is an increase of $1,219. The treasurer collector, $150,318, which is an increase of $1,190. The town clerk, $160,930, which is an increase of $1,190. Inspection services, $260,356, reducing the building commissioner's proposed salary by $1,509. Council on Aging, $231,190, reducing the Council on Aging Director's proposed salary by $1,135. The library, $273,858, reducing the library director proposed salary by $1,135. Department of Public Works, $1,326,970, reducing the operations supervisor proposed salary by $1,276. And then under the heading operating expenses for fiscal year 2026, under the Board of Health, $13,800, reducing the proposed Board of Health enforcement costs by $1,500. All other dollar amounts in personal services and operating expenses will remain the same as presented. The new total for fiscal year 2026 personal services will be $7,590,703, and operating expenses will be $2,613,237. This represents a total difference of $2,956. All in favor?
Point of order, please. Point of order. Point of...
Wait, hold on. Come to the microphone.
Madam Moderator?
Who is doing Madam Moderator? It's John. John Duval. I'm hearing it.
Moderator, I am asking to strike the BOH code enforcement reduction line. Is that we keep that line?
Okay, so we have to vote the First Amendment.
Oh.
If the First Amendment passes, it goes. If the amendment fails, then you can offer your amendment, and we can go from there. Ms. Sacco.
The numbers are, not all of the numbers are correct.
Okay, hold on.
The sheet that I handed you.
Oh, going to the sheet, the numbers are off by $1.
Some of them are off by $1, but it does change the total.
The total on the bottom is now... Okay. That's correct.
This is wrong. But
And it's
every,
$29.58.
the total for the two differences, which is $14.58. It does make a difference.
Okay.
And then we have to vote on the article.
Okay.
Yep.
So it's 166, 604.
So he's
Some
got-
differences, 1220.
He's got to offer
Vote
again.
on the article.
And it's 150,
But in order
317.
but if he wanted to propose an amendment,
Mr. Duval's motion to amend is being adjusted by the finance director with the following numbers. The assessor is $166,604 with an increase of $1,220, $1. The treasurer collector is $150,317, which is an increase of $1,189, which is a decrease of $1 from what you have on your sheet. The town clerk is $160,929, which is $1,180, which is $1 lower than what you have on your sheet. Inspection services is fine. Council on Aging is $231,180, 89, because I'm reading. So that's a reduction of $1,136, which is an increase of $1. The library is $273,857, which is a reduction of $1,136. The Department of Public Works is $1,326,971, which is a reduction of $1 to $1,275, making the final numbers for personal services will be $7,590,701. The operation number of $2,613,237 is correct. So the total difference is $2,958, which is $2. Okay. So, all in favor of the amendment proposed, say aye. Aye. Opposed?
No.
The amendment passes. All in, yes, Mr. Blake? Okay. Mr. Rhodes, if you would like to make your motion, your amendment, we can do that. 'Cause I'm with this.
Yeah, Dave Rhodes, Precinct 5, Board of Health. Strike the change, Board of Health, $13,800, reducing proposed BOH order enforcement costs by $1,500. Retain BOH recommended as $15,300.
Do you have that in writing? Dr. Rhodes proposes the following amendment to strike the change in the previous amendment of reducing the Board of Health order enforcement by $1,500 and retaining the Board of Health's recommended number of $15,300. Is there a second?
I'll second.
I'm sorry, who was that? Seconded by Ms. Hoyt. Discussion.
I'm just wondering if that would mean we would need to also adjust the totals
Oh, we'll get
accordingly?
back to it. Oh, yeah. Mr. Burdick?
Yes, hi, Tim Burdick, Precinct 5. We heard the argument about, from Mr. Garner about potentially needing these. This was never presented like this, and this is not a stabilization fund where we keep growing. It's a budget. We budget for anticipated expenses, not just to keep $1,500 and not being spent. I would have no problem if you came in one year and said we needed $10,000 to do something, but not just keep adding and adding and adding and have no justification for it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any further discussion on this amendment? Okay, all in favor of the amendment by Dr. Rhodes to retain the Board of Health's recommended number of $15,300, say aye. Aye. Opposed? No. Yeah, it's kind of close, so the tellers will take a count. The tellers will count, yes. Oh, yes, sorry about that, I probably did. Is it 15,000? 1,500, sorry, 1,500. Okay, so those in favor of Mr. Rhodes' amendment, Dr. Rhodes' amendment, please stand. The tellers will count and report their numbers to the clerk. Thank you. You may be seated. Those opposed? That's going to work. All right, so then I have to go back to the original. Okay. All right. We did vote that, so then it's the article as amended. Okay. You guys are testing me. Thank you. The amendment fails. There were 23 yeses and 67 noes. Back to the article as amended. Yes? Jeff, thanks. Back to the article as amended. All in favor? Aye. Opposed, Mr. Cowie? Yes? You have an amendment? Oh, yeah, come on up. Sorry. We'll get back to that.
Sorry.
That's okay.
I just want to, I've been changing the amounts there. Is the personal services amount now?
Can, microphone?
7,590,701.
Correct.
Okay.
No, wait a minute. 703? 701. So that's what, yes, 701. No, we did say we changed it to 701 in the amendment. So we're okay. You didn't have to amend. We're there. But thank you. Yep. It's correct number in the amendment.
Figure going forward.
We have a new amendment. Okay, Mr. Cowie of Precinct 3 moves the following amendment. It's on page 10 of your book. The line item for the town administrator personal services fiscal year 2026 in the amount of $209,954 be reduced by $25,000 to the amount of $184,954. This is to reduce the gross pay from fiscal year 2026 from $125,000 to $100,000. Those numbers? Mr. Cowie, to be clear, you're looking at $209,954 in your book, and you want to reduce that to the $184,954? And the gross pay that you're talking about?
Because it's going directly to his gross pay, which we are projecting ahead at 125. I want that reduced, yes, to 100,000.
Okay.
This was discussed at Finance Committee.
Okay. All right, hold on. Ms. Sacco's going to do her thing.
Well,
Numbers have been verified. Is there a second to Mr. Cowie's amendment? Not hearing a second, the amendment fails. Back to the article. Yes, Mr. Cowie.
is there anyone here from the Cemetery Commission? Because I had a question from a precinct member that asked me to ask it.
Do
Anybody here from the cemetery
I have a
commission?
cemetery commissioner? But, hold on a second, are they in this budget?
Yeah, cemetery commission, yes.
Bruce Shepley, Chairman of the Cemetery Commission. Unless the question is pertinent to this article and to any monies involved, then I don't think this is the place.
Okay, Mr. Kelly, is it a money question?
No.
Then it has no
Person wants to
business
know
here.
why there's no water right there.
I would ask you to please contact the Cemetery Commission through the Department of Public Works. Thank you.
I asked the question.
Thank you. All right, so here we are back at Article 5. We're going to try one more time to move the article as amended. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Done. Article 5 is passed. Article 6. Article 6 is the Sewer Enterprise Fund to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or transfer from available funds a sum of money to operate the sewer enterprise or to take any other actions in relation thereto, held by the chairman of the Finance Committee, Mr. Justin Duval. Mr. Duval.
All right, so we would like to move Article 6 with the following amendment. The Finance Committee amends Article 6 as follows: to recommend that the town vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds as noted, the amount shown under the heading FY 2026 recommended, for the personnel, operating, and debt service expenses of the wastewater treatment plant as follows. Under FY 26 recommended personnel expenses, $564,795. This represents a reduction of the wastewater treatment plant superintendent proposed salary by $1,276. All other amounts will remain the same as presented. The new total recommendation will be $1,390,452, which represents a total difference of $1,276.
Seconded by Mr. Lennon. Okay, we now have a handout for you. So the tellers will do the handout. I will note on the Mr. Duval, it is $564,796 with a reduction of $1,275. The bottom number of $1,390,452 is correct. Nope, not correct, sorry. 453 with a total difference of $1,275. Okay, Mr. Yep. Oh, sorry. Did I give it to you? Thanks. Ryan, don't.
Oh, Dave's good. He's gonna beat you. I know. Here comes Dave. Dave's gonna beat you. Two. Just two. Yeah. Just me and Jay. Oh, never mind. David. David. Thank you very much.
Thank you. I'm just giving, the town clerk just needed a minute, sorry. Okay, we do have an amendment on the floor. We do have a second discussion. Seeing no discussion, all in favor of the amendment, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The amendment passes. Mr. Duval moves the article as amended, seconded by Mr. Byros. All in favor? Aye. Opposed?
No.
So moved. Okay. Article 9. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds a sum or sums of money as may be necessary for the operating and capital assessments of the Hoosick Valley Regional School District for the fiscal year beginning July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, or take any other action in relation thereto. The fiscal year 2026 recommended is $6,620,400 as broken out in your booklet on page 15. The total operating budget for the Hoosick Valley Regional School District for fiscal year 26 is $23,136,636. Mr. Justin Duval moves the recommendation that the town vote to accept the Hoosick Valley Regional School District FY26 budget and to raise and appropriate $6,620,400, seconded by Ms. Cuscinetti. Discussion. Mr. Cowie, you held the article.
Is Mr. Dean here?
Mr. Dean is here, as is Ms. Schneider for questions of money.
Good evening.
Good evening, Mr. Dean. I've got two quick questions on this.
Yeah.
The MCAS testing, last year it was voted down as being a requirement for graduation by ballot initiative. What are we doing? Are we replacing it, or what are we doing?
Is this a budgetary question?
Well, I'll entertain a couple questions if you'd like.
Take a couple of questions.
So the MCAS, that's a great question. The state hasn't decided what they're going to do with it. In the meantime, we adopted a policy based on courses and completion of certain courses for the competency determination portion of that. But essentially our graduation requirements that we have in place carry by themselves at this point.
Okay. Then the other question I had was, during COVID, when we had the at-home, kids were doing their classes at home, and they, through the NAEP, the testing, they determined that, like, especially like in 4th and 8th grade, they weren't up to par yet. And I know the school committee discussed this, I believe, 2 years ago. Where do we stand on the students, and are they back up to their level, or are we still trying to get them back up?
Overall, we're still trying to get them back up. We have cohorts that have made more gains than others, but as we look at next year, we're looking at kindergarten, grade 4 and grade 8 that we're looking at resourcing because of what we're seeing internally.
Okay, and now the civics.
Mr. Kelly, I've given you a little bit of wiggle room, but we're not going down that road.
It's just a quick one.
No, we've had two quick questions. No. If you have a question about the operating budget or the $6 million opposed? Moved. Thank you. Mr. Cowie, you held Article 10, the Northern Berkshire Vocational Regional School District Assessment. Okay. Seeing none, Mr. Duval moves the Finance Committee's recommendation to vote that the town accept the Northern Berkshire Vocational Regional School District FY26 budget and raise and appropriate $1,069,566, seconded by Mr. Byros. Any further discussion or discussion? Seeing none, all in favor? Aye. Opposed? Article moves. Let's see, moving on to Article 13. To see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds a sum of money to provide for extraordinary or unforeseen expenditures to be known as the reserve fund account, transfer from which may be made from time to time only by the Finance Committee or take any other action in relation thereto. Mr. Justin Duval moves the Finance Committee's recommendation that the town vote to raise and appropriate the sum of $175,000 to be utilized by the Finance Committee for the extraordinary and unforeseen expenditures to be known as the Reserve Fund account, transfer from which may be made from time to time only by the Finance Committee, seconded by Ms. Cuccinetti. Mr. Novak, you held the article.
Yeah, my question on this is, unless I read it incorrectly, where is this $175,000 coming from originally? The 175, we're going to establish this fund for extraordinary things that happen. Where are we taking the 175,000 from, 175,000 to start that?
Ms. Sacco or Mr. Walto?
The money is going to be raised and appropriated. It'll be in the tax rate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? No further discussion. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? So moved. Article 14, unpaid bills held by, let's see, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate or appropriate from available funds a sum of money to pay unpaid bills of current or fiscal years or take any other action in relation thereto. The chairman of the Finance Committee, Mr. Justin Duval, recommends that the town vote to accept this article as written, seconded by Mr. Lennon. Mr. Novak, you held the article.
Yes, my question is, the very last line says, at this time, there are no outstanding bills. Have all the bills for fiscal, I know we're still in this fiscal 2025 year, so up to date, all the bills have been paid and we don't have any outstanding bills. Is that correct? Or are there some still on the desk that haven't been processed yet and waiting for the next fiscal year where we'll have more funds? For instance, I'm thinking about salt and snow removal. I'm thinking about KP law, and I'm thinking of a few other things. Are they all paid? Because I know we've appropriated amount of money which I don't believe will cover what we've paid so far. So my question in short is, as it's stated here, at this time, all of the outstanding, we don't have any outstanding bills. Is that correct?
Ms. Sacco.
This is more or less used for if anyone was to present me an out-of-date bill that was out of a previous fiscal year that we weren't appropriated for this year. We do have bills that need to be paid. We do have an entire another warrant that has to go through, which is our last warrant that gets ran in July. We have, per Massachusetts state law, we have until July 15th to pay any bills. So yes, there are unpaid bills in the sense of that are been appropriated, paid for this fiscal year, which we still have funds for. So yes, we still have a whole warrant to run, but no one's presented me any outstanding prior fiscal year bills. So that's why you'll see it say at this time, there's no outstanding bills.
Okay, thank you. Any other questions, discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Article moves. Article 19, authorize revolving fund spending limits. To see if the town will vote pursuant to Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 40, Section 53E and a half, to establish limitations on expenditures from the revolving funds established by Chapter 50 of the General Bylaws entitled, quote, revolving funds, as follows, or take any other action in relation thereto. You have in your booklet on page 17 the fiscal year 26 expenditure limits for each revolving account. Mr. Justin Duval recommends that the town vote to accept the article as written, seconded by Mr. Byros. Mr. Novak, you held this article.
Yes. Revolving funds, what they're earmarked for has to be spent for what they're earmarked for. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so in other words, if revolving funds, if I'm also correct, they're not audited along with community development funds? Those two offerings don't seem to ever be in the auditing as it comes out. So I'm asking is, for instance, if one of the revolving funds is not being used quite as much, and then one of the other ones is needed money, you're unable to take money from another revolving account and move it up to the offering or the item where you need money. So what I'm asking is, all of this revolving fund, because in my opinion, if I look at it, if I'm correct, it's all under the auspices of the town administrator, perhaps maybe not the library revolving fund. I may be wrong with others. So that's something that I want to know, and I'd like to see how these revolving funds are spent. And it's something I've asked for quite a long time, and I've never been able to get an answer for it. So I think it would be good for the selectmen to know and the people of Adams where this money from the revolving funds are going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Novak. Do we have anything over here? We're good? Okay, Mr. Blake, Town Council?
Hello? Yeah, there we go. Through you, Madam Moderator. Good evening, everybody, and thank you for having us, me and Michael. We're thrilled to be here. I think the question, it was a very long question. I think the question was, can you ask to see where the money goes? And the answer is, yes, of course. It's public funds. You can ask to see where they go. You're on the select board, and you can certainly get that information if you need it. I think you said something about them all being under the auspices of the town administrator. In fact, when I look through your bylaw, some of them are the authorized person is the town administrator, but some are the DPW director, the library director, the building commissioner, and the treasurer, depending upon the revolving fund. Obviously, if it's a tax title matter, it's typically under the treasurer collector because he or she is the one that handles those kind of issues. So to answer your question, yes, you can find out where those monies go. They are only to be spent as they are allowed under your bylaw, which is under the heading of allowed expenses. So if you're taking tax title money and spending it on something else, then it's not allowed.
I would just like to add, however, that we do not have, as was mentioned earlier on by a town meeting member, we do not have somebody who's the superintendent of our highway department. It's been neglected for 2 years, and my thought why we don't have it is that we don't have enough money. But what I'm saying there is there's quite a lot of money that's appropriated to the town administrator underneath the highway department. So it's just something that I just would like to know, and I think I have asked, and I don't think I've ever gotten an answer. So that's coming from a selectman. So thank you for your information.
All right, thank you. Any other questions on the article? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Article moves. Moving on to Article 21, the Economic Development Fund. To see if the town will vote to appropriate from the Economic Development Fund a sum of money to be used for fiscal year 2026 expenses, $80,000 for the payroll expenses of the Executive Director of the Greylock Glen Outdoor Center from July 1st, 2025 through June 30th, 2026, or to take any other action in relation thereto. Mr. Justin Duval, Chairman of the Finance Committee, votes to recommend that the town vote to accept this article as written, seconded by Ms. Cuccinetti. Mr. Novak, you held the article. Oh, Mr. Cowie, sorry, wrong one. Just have it. You need to come up here, I'm sorry.
You can withdraw that.
Thank you.
My question was answered when we discussed warrant Article 5.
Perfect, thank you, Mr. Cowie. Is there any other questions or discussion on this article?
Yes, since
Oh,
you, excuse me.
Mr. Novak?
Since you mentioned my name, I think I'll put in my 2 cents. I was very surprised, and I know Mike is here, and I wish him well in his next endeavor, but the situation that I found kind of perplexing was that Mr. Wynn was never given a contract with any stipulation, so he had what I would call an escape clause, where he could leave at any time and there wouldn't be any repercussions for him leaving.
Okay, thank you for your comment, Mr. Novak, but, yeah, I don't even know where to go, but that's it.
Okay.
Thank you. Any other discussion or questions? Mr. Corrigan?
Craig Corrigan, Precinct 3. My question is, this is just what I got out of the paper, that the job qualifications that are listed for the replacement calls for a master's, which is fine, but there's no mention of a marketing person, marketing experience. We're trying to market a property, but we're accepting people with a master's degree of anything. And it seems that we should have in that, we should not hire just a person. We should hire someone with a marketing background. That's what we need to do.
Thank you, Mr. Corrigan. Any other questions or discussions? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? The article moves. Article 22, the citizens' petition. To see if the town will vote to require the selectmen, in parentheses, any one or more selectmen per meeting, in parentheses, to hold a monthly series of 60 to 90-minute community forums beginning within 60 days of the 2025 town meeting to share updates with and engage residents on the Greylock Glen Outdoor Recreation and Environmental Center, in parentheses, quote, the Glen Project, end parentheses, or to take any other action in relation thereto. Recognizing the town's significant investment in the Glen, these meetings will promote transparency and encourage public involvement, be open to all residents, and shall be posted on the town website calendar at least 2 weeks in advance. Further going on, topics to be discussed at monthly meetings in any order. 1, the mission of the developing of the Greylock Glen. Review the Glen's project's original mission of delivering economic benefits while emphasizing environmental sensitivity and climate sustainability. Discuss competing priorities and provide a timeline for important updates. Number 2, economic impact. Present recent and projected income/expenses. The Select Board is encouraged to share data in advance to support informed decisions. Number 3, moving forward. Discuss strategies, opportunities, and risks for the Glen Project's future growth. Number 4, environmental education, recreation, and sustainability. Provide updates on the development's original goals as well as progress, challenges, and community engagement opportunities. Number 5, identify additional assistance. Explore additional sources of technical and financial assistance to help the town navigate the development and management of the Greylock Glen Project. And number 6, additional topics. Identify and discuss other Glen Project-related topics and concerns raised by the Select Board or residents during the process. Is there a motion on the citizens' petition? Mr. Wagner, do you want to make your motion?
Yeah, I would like to, Peter Wagner from Precinct 3. I would like to propose a one-word amendment to this article.
Sure.
Because we learned that...
Well, I need a motion first.
Okay. You want a motion for the amendment or a motion for the...
Let's put the article on the floor first.
Right.
So a motion for
I'll make a motion to put the article on the floor.
Okay, is there a second to Mr. Wagner's motion? Seconded by Dr. Rhodes. Okay, Mr. Wagner, you did hold the article, now you can offer your amendment.
I'd like to propose a one-word amendment to strike the word require and replace it with request. I'll give you the copy.
Thank you.
And the reason for that is that...
Hold on.
Sorry.
Mr. Wagner proposes the following amendment to Article 22 to strike the word require in the first sentence and replace it with request. Is there a second? Seconded by Mrs. Parsons. All in favor of the amendment? Aye. Opposed? Okay, so the amendment passes. Mr. Wagner, you can continue with your discussion. You held the article.
Thank you. 6 months ago, there was a discussion at town meeting about creating a Greylock Glen Commission, and there was a concern from the public for more transparency, for more involvement, for more information, and for some clarity about which way the money was going. And the select board was concerned that they didn't want to give up control to an entity that the state could set up, that the state could change through the legislature process. That was what we heard. So this citizen's petition is a request for the select board to share what it's currently thinking with the town, what it knows, what it doesn't know, what it wants to figure out, and how the town can help. So that's what this petition does.
Okay, thank you. I am going to call on Mr. Blake from KP Law.
Hello? There we go. Through you, Madam Moderator, to the previous speaker. Thank you for your amendment because, in my opinion, like the last time I came out here when we were doing the special act, the legislative body can't direct the executive, at least in this respect. However, you can certainly request everything that you've done here, and it will be, as I think I told you the last time I was out here, directory and not mandatory. So when the people sit here and debate it, you have your select board sitting right there listening to it. And they can certainly take from it what they will. But this article and this town meeting can't force them to do it. So it is a request, one that they can take to heart, they can do, they can take some of it, they can take all of it, they can take none of it.
Any further questions? Discussion, Dr. Rhodes.
Yes, thank you. As Attorney Blake noted, this is not mandating, it is requesting. And as such, if we do pass this article, does the Board of Selectmen, if we do pass it and they do not wish to comply with our request, must they take a formal vote to say they will not comply?
Mr. John Duval, Chairman of the Board of Selectmen.
So I can't speak for the board. We haven't talked about this at all. Definitely will come before the board as an agenda item. One other way of doing this is the creation of the Greylock Glen Advisory Committee, which would meet once a month and go through all of those articles, but I can't go any further than that because we haven't discussed it. But we will discuss it as a board of how we want to deal with we'll go through that article if it's approved tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor of the article as amended, say aye. Aye. Opposed? The citizens' petition passes. Seeing no further business to come before the annual meeting for the town of Adams. All right. Chairman John Duval moves that the annual meeting be dissolved, seconded by Chairman Justin Duval. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Thank you and good night.